Hello, and thank you for joining us for San Diego ATD Chapter's Get Good with Articulate Storyline, also presented through ISPI SoCal. I'm John Morley, an instructional designer, and if I can help you on a project, my email address is in the chat window. A quick word from our sponsors, San Diego ATD and ISPI SoCal. We're still kind of getting the year together here. This is what we have. This information and links for more information are in the chat window. So ATD gets social to start the year with a networking event 2 weeks from tonight, January 29th at 6 p.m. Pacific at Stone Brewing, which is located at Liberty Station. What is not to like about all that? Now, the first Friday of next month is, of course, the First Friday Roundtable on February 6th at the usual time, 8 in the morning Pacific, jointly presented by both organizations. And the article we will be discussing is Before You Plan Your New Year, Ask Yourself 4 questions. This will be facilitated by Laura Coons. She's been the energy behind keeping the roundtable going for a number of years now. So we thank you, Laura. This storyline workshop will be back again the third Thursday, and no, I do not know who is speaking or what the topic will be, but I will make sure it is a good one, and I look forward to seeing you there. No one knows everything about storyline, especially me, and even though we may not have the rest of the year together yet, this evening we have it very well together because this evening we are very fortunate to have with us Jodi Sansone. Jodi is a celebrity on Articulate's e-learning challenge. She has been at the top of the leaderboard for 10 years. And if you don't know about the e-learning challenge, that is quite an accomplishment with some very high quality work that she has posted. She has earned a BA from Northwestern University, an MBA from New York University, and since then has earned a whole bunch of certifications. Jodi has helped improve job performance at clients including Leo Burnett Worldwide, Revlon, Omnicom, Seattle Genetics, the U.S. Air Force, along with many others. And although Jodi has an extensive tarot card collection, she makes no claims about predicting the future or your love life. Shame. Although thinking
Well,
about
we could
it,
test that today.
oh, we could, yeah. Okay, be careful what you document. So you can contact Jodi at the email address that I've put into the chat window. And with that, Jodi, what you been working on?
Okay.
There she is. Hi, Jodi.
Okay. Hi there. All right. Thank you for reminding me to share sound, John. Okay.
Some fabulous music in this thing.
Okay. And before I go through the demo, I didn't expect to be doing this so soon in the year, but like right around the holidays, John and I connected, and he mentioned to me that there was an opportunity to share in January, and I just happened to be working on something. Usually, my year ends around Thanksgiving because a lot of the projects I have, usually people are getting ready to clear out, like maybe some of you. So I usually have, but middle of November to like January 1st, I usually have time to do some of my own things and play around. And I was working on something that John thought might be good to share because it leverages AI through storylines, a lot of storylines, new built-in features, and it leverages AI externally, things that I've been using to figure out how to create interactions that have been kind of like puzzling me for a while. So after I sent him the demo, he said, "Okay, that might be, it's got a lot in there." And then as I've been practicing trying to explain it, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I really going to need your help because I don't even, with some of these new features, I don't even know how they work. They just are working, which I should be happy about, but I'm always nervous when I don't understand how something's working." But anyway, so thank you, John. And I want to say, like, if you ever need feedback on a demo, send it to John. He gives great feedback. Like, he never just says, "Oh, yeah, that's great. Good job." Like, he tells you, like, slide by slide what he liked. He finds typos and he gives suggestions. And it was really helpful for me on this one.
Yeah,
So,
I love carrying things up, so send
yeah,
it over.
it was good. So be careful what you ask for. So what I'm going to walk through is this demo on how to do a tarot card reading in Storyline. And this has been something that's been in my bullpen since 2018. And I never could figure out how to create a card shuffling interaction. And I kind of gave it up for a while. And then in November, this last November, I was like, gee, like with all this AI and everything, maybe I can get some insights on how to create this interaction. There's got to be a way to do it. And so that's kind of like where I was, but it's been kind of like since 2018. And since we're in e-learning challenge, I think 536 or something like that. And the first time I tried this, it was challenge number 213. That's how long this, like, it takes me a long time to learn things. So, it's 6 years. Technology caught up with my aspirations. So, and this is the kind of the result. So this is an interaction that I've been working on. I'm not going to put the audio on yet because I don't want to blast your eardrums out, but I will eventually if you want to hear it. But here was the challenge I was trying to address technically. It's a technical challenge. Like, how do I create a card shuffle interaction and storyline that allows you to have a finite number of cards? Like in a tarot deck, if you didn't know this, there's 22 major cards. And when you do a tarot reading, you get a card for the past, the present, and the future. So you only get three finite cards out of these 22. And I could figure out how to make the card show up, but I couldn't figure out how to get them to show three cards without repeating them. So, because you can't have like three of the same cards in a reading, that's a stupid reading. So that's kind of what I was trying to do here. And actually, Ron was one of the people I asked many years ago, Jonathan Hill many years ago, Phil Mayer, any ideas on how to do this? And I did get help, but it was so technical, so many variables, and like my mind just didn't accept it. But now, because through AI and some of the JavaScript tools that even I don't know JavaScript, I was able, I think, to accomplish that. So what I'm going to go through in this demo is I'm going to show you the card shuffle interaction, the JavaScript that was generated to create it, and how the variables set up, because there's a bunch of number variables in here that control how the cards show up. I used external AI to write all the card descriptions and the fortunes, because I could have done it myself, but it would take me a month probably to do. Now with AI, I could just like, I go, I need fortunes for the past, present, and future for all the cards, and it takes AI 60 seconds. So that was enough for my demo. And then I used some text-to-speech tools to generate like a real breathy, mystical voice. And then within Storyline, I did that, use the text editing AI feature, the new entrance animation AI, the alt text checker, which is a game changer, and the audio captions AI generator, total game changer, saves days and days of work, puts it into like a minute. So I'm going to go through this. Everybody know how a tarot card works? I could go through the whole demo. Should I go through it, or do you want me to just get to the reading? I'll leave it to you.
Well, it's such a beautiful demo. You might want to
Okay.
go
Okay.
through that. And the
Okay.
music sounds great. That really adds
Okay. I'll up my audio a little bit so you can,
okay.
I use the audio to give it some background.
Don't blast us too
And
bad.
I'll go through real quickly. I'll turn the audio on and off, but just to give you a feel for it. And then we'll come and tear it apart.
Yeah,
So,
you can talk us through it.
okay. Okay. So here's the audio. Hearing the audio.
Uh, yes, we can hear
Okay.
it.
Okay. Okay. So what is tarot? Here's a little bit of background on tarot. I
Okay,
won't go
yeah,
through.
music is a little too loud.
Okay. I'll just turn it off. You got
Yeah,
the you got the idea.
now that
It's
we
kind
know
of
how
like
wonderful it is.
dreamy and it's just for fun. I probably wouldn't do that in a client project, but for a demo, I can have fun with it. So if I were teaching someone about tarot, obviously I'd have to tell them like, what is tarot? Like, what's the background of it? On this particular one, I like to write a little bit too much, which is why I like the text editor. But there's a little scroll panel here that tells you a little bit about what tarot is. I'll show you my breathy voice in a minute. What do you know about the cards? And how tarot even developed. It was just a card game, I guess, like in the 1400s. But then given like these great looking cards and you know, I guess bored people with no TV and no social media needed card games. So they created a tarot game. Um, Tarot is it's also called the Fool's Journey. It tells the story of the Fool is the first card in the tarot. And as the Fool goes through his life and his journey, he meets people and encounters concepts. So that's how like all the cards are set up. The Fool is like the main character, and the all the other cards are the supporting cast to tell your future, to tell your fortune. So if you ever wanted to know about the tarot cards, there's 22 cards. Here are all the big ones. And if you were going to do an e-learning on tarot cards, of course, you would try to explain to people what all the cards mean. So for each of the 22 cards, we have a little bit on, what's the card whisper? The card whisper is like the theme of the card, and then a little bit about what each card is. So there's 22 of these. Oh, what's like look up death? That's always like a popular card, right? So there's the death card, but death isn't so bad in tarot. What it might mean, like something's ending, but something new is about to be transformed. So, okay. So each of these cards has a little history. And I just want to say, I was paying attention in the November session, and I did these little animations on the hover that Thaddeus went through because he reminded us about how those work. So I did get something out of the last session.
Nice touch.
Okay. And then if you've never done a tarot card reading, there's like 4 steps. So first you got to think of a question and something that you're struggling with that you want to resolve. Before you read, before you do a reading, you got to cleanse the deck. You shuffle it or touch it or tap it, and it kind of like resets the deck from the previous reading. And then you draw 3 cards, past, present, and future, and then you interpret the cards as a group all together about the issue that you've created. So, okay, so let's get to the reading. First of all, I wanted to add like a little personalization in this. So let's use um, let's use John here. So we're going to say this is John's reading. Okay,
Okay.
so use a text
My
entry
future.
variable. Yep. And this is like a nice touch so that you can use it throughout the demo or throughout your course. This now it's kind of personalized. So now we got, hey John, take a moment to cleanse the deck. And you cleanse the deck, but I just said you could tap it. I'm just tapping it, but so now you feel like it's cleansed. You can see it's floating a little bit. So there's some of the kind of more mystical things. So it's something's happening to that deck. And now, John, like, do you have a question you would like to explore for 2026? And it's like not who's going to win the Super Bowl. You can just think it if you want, but it should
Uh,
be like a meaningful question.
who is the guest speaker for our next storyline workshop?
That's for February, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we got a question, but it could be, it could be anything.
I should have been more mystical than that.
Yeah. So here's the reading. And this down here, by the way, is just for us developers. I just put like a little variable reference in here that we'll go through when we tear it apart. But I did it more for us so that we could see what's going on. So now we're going to read the cards. So, okay, John, we're going to use this button to reveal your cards. So we've got justice is in your past on this question. The devil's in the present.
Ooh,
And then temperance is in the future. So we've got our 3 cards drawn. Now it's like, okay, so what? So what do these cards mean? Let's just see what justice in the past means. So this means justice once stood with scales held steady, and your past choices quietly shaped this moment. That sounds like it's thinking about like your past presenters, actions taken
truly.
by others, created consequences that could be not be avoided. So, for you to interpret. The devil in the present. The devil stands illuminated now. What once felt inescapable is seen clearly. Maybe that means your February speaker is going to become clear soon. It's going to be resolved. I wonder
That
what
would be
temperance
lovely.
means. Okay, through thoughtful integration, harmony, and will grow and stabilize. So, hmm, that sounds pretty good for like getting a new speaker. You want someone who can harmonize, but
Yeah, grow and stabilize are nice words.
yeah. And then we're done. So we need a closing round. So you could have asked like, you know, usually people with tarot, like they're usually like I just know that when I'm in Sedona, we have a psychic center by us, and you can tell everyone's always asking about their relationships and you know, what they did in a past life. So, but anyway, the interaction did what it was supposed to do. It gave us a card for the past, the present, and the future, and none of them repeated. So, and then we're going to
And
close it off.
and it looks as if you're able to repeat that over and over again.
Yeah, this one I did for on the reading. What I did again, that this is me testing, and if you guys were doing this, we would reset it to make sure it's still doing everything. So it's this. I would never get, leave this on the slide for like an audience, but for us testing it, so we could reset these cards time just to make sure that the cards are changing and that they're not repeating. So, and if you're wondering, like, why does it say the past is 13 and the card shows 12 up here?
Ooh.
It's because the first card starts with a zero, which is the Fool. So, um, if the Fool were to come up, it would say zero, but it would be card number one. So they're always off by one. So,
Yeah,
but but a
that's
learner would never know that. We would know it, and I know it because I'm testing it. But okay,
that's the way computer programming works. That numbers
yeah,
start with a zero.
yeah. I didn't know. I didn't want to start with zero anyway. It's confusing to me. But anyway, but the card starts with zero. Okay, and then we kind of close it off, and I don't know why that. I guess must have done something while I was doing it, but it'll give like a closing sentiment, and then we can leave. So there's the close. Let's get out of here. Okay. All right, let me go back in my notes here and see what I wanted to go through first. So I guess the first thing we should go through, you guys cool? Like so far so good?
Oh, very nice. Yeah, it'd
Okay.
be very nice to see how this was done on a number of
Okay.
levels.
Okay. I really practice how to describe what's going on this slide. Like you don't really unless you can explain it, right? Okay, so here's the slide with the card sorting. So I knew in getting started here, I kind of knew maybe 50% of what I needed. I knew I needed a card for each of the past, the present, and the future. I knew that. I knew that each card was going to have at least 22 states, right? Because each card could be the Fool, or each draw, I guess, could be the Fool, it could be the Magician, it could be any one of these 22. So far so good. Like Jodi sitting all by herself goes, okay, I know I need three cards. I need one for the present that's got all the different characters, and I know I need one for the past too. Great. I know I need a device to change the cards, so that's where this button comes in. Check, got that. I also knew that I needed a description of each of the cards, one for like, let's use the magician here. So what's the magician in the future mean? What does the high priestess in the future mean? So I knew I needed like fortune descriptions for 22 cards times three. So I needed 66 different types of descriptions. Um, the Fool in the past, present, and future, the Magician in the past, present, future. So there's 66 different layers here that when you click on the card and the right cards come up, you're going to get your fortune. And I knew I needed a variable because I knew like something was going to be going on there with the variables were going to change the state of each of these cards. So I knew I needed one for the past, one for the present, and one for the future. And each of these could be 1 to 22. So that I knew. And I knew like this little thing up here, I needed like a little instruction or something. So all
It,
that was good. Like I knew all this, but I didn't know how to make it do what I wanted it to do, which was to draw three random cards in three, and one in each position and one in and then have them not repeat. So, because you didn't, like I said, you didn't want the fool to show up in all three places because that's not how the reading works. So I went out to the outside world and asked an AI to develop my JavaScript for this because I figured like it had something to do with JavaScript. I just didn't know what. So this was just practicing and experimenting, swearing a lot and being frustrated, having a glass of wine and coming back and doing it. So that's my that's my workflow. Okay, so let's look at this. Here's like the guts of it. And when I went, I used ChatGPT to develop the JavaScript, and then I got the JavaScript, and I'm like, great, I don't even know what the hell to do with this. And then I asked it, can you help me develop the triggers and the variable setup that support this JavaScript, something like that. And it did it. And I just followed what it told me to do. So let's look at the JavaScript first. So when the slide, when the learner clicks this button right here, this reveal button, it's going to execute this JavaScript. And here's the JavaScript. So maybe some of you know what this means, but I had to look it up line by line. And if I were to explain what this JavaScript is doing, it's saying that I have a card deck. I think this is what it's saying. There's a deck of 22 cards. We're going to shuffle through this Fisher-Yates Fisher-Yates algorithm, which I had to look up. And it's just an algorithm that allows you to shuffle like a finite sequence of cards in a random permutations in a finite sequence. I have no idea like why it did this. This is just what it gave me. And then as like a clueless person looking at this, I saw it and I'm like, okay, it's telling the variables to do something, right? So here's my variable for the card for the past, present, and future. So great. Like I just copied and pasted this JavaScript in, which it wouldn't work until, okay, so I'm just going to okay that. That is the best I could do on explaining what this is. So for someone who doesn't know JavaScript. Okay. Well, then I needed like, here, I'll preview this again because we can see the JavaScript working. So the JavaScript is controlling the variable, the three variables, past, present, and future, right? Sorry. Okay. So when I click this button, that JavaScript it executes. And now what just happened, it changed the variables, right? So it said make the pass as random number, make the present 19, and make the future 21. Okay.
So
So
those are all states that you have pulled up.
these are states. So the JavaScript set the variable, right? But then I needed a way to show the state changes. And that's where this results layer comes in. And this is where I got help from AI. So there is I call it like it's like a blank layer. It's not really blank. It's got instructions on it, but no visual. I always think of a layer. It's something like you want to put a visual or something on top of it.
Mhm.
But all this layer does, it says change the state of the first card, the present card, to that state one, which is the fool. When the timeline starts on this layer, if the variable present equals one. So let's go back and look at how this works. So the JavaScript on this slide adjusts the variables, my three variables, past, present, and future. And then right after that happens, the show layer, the results layer comes up, and the results layer dictates what all the cards look like. So it's setting the state for those three cards, and it's just a bunch of instructions. There's nothing on this layer except these instructions. So there's 66 of these, right? So there's one for each card. And I probably, like, in my own head, I would not have come up with this. I would not have come up with this approach because I never really think of a layer as being something with nothing on it but instructions. But I could see like how it really like how it really worked here. So, and that is, let me see if I forgot anything on the slide. Yeah, so let me preview it one more time here. Now you could do this, like you could probably do it, if you wanted to simulate a poker game or any kind of flashcards for like some kind of decision or something, but it worked pretty good. So, okay, so I'm going to press the button. The JavaScript's going to change these variables right here. And then that results layer is going to change the way these cards look. So it's kind of like a cascading impact. So the JavaScript did that, and then the layer said, okay, if the pass is equal to 3, change the card to the High Priestess, which is the third card.
I don't
So,
quite follow how the JavaScript tells the program how to change the variable.
okay. Neither do I.
That's part
Is
of
there
the fun.
somebody on here who reads JavaScript? I did the best I could. Okay, here's the JavaScript again, right?
Yeah, I see it on the screen, but how does
Yeah.
it get from this code into the storyline?
You've got those set there commands down at the bottom.
Right
Oh,
here?
right, right. There we go.
Yeah, it's right
There
here,
we go.
right? Line 17, 18, and 19.
So that's specifically setting, it's going into storyline until it grab this variable and put it in and make it a 0 and for a one or a 2.
Yeah, I thought
Well, I
like
guess
this was,
you
it's
have
telling,
variables named v past, v present, v future.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you
So
pull
those
up
are,
the variable screen just so we can take a look at
yep,
that really quick?
there you go. And it's funny when I was proofing this, I was like, okay, how did I get 71 for future? I've got an
Huh.
extra something in there, but it's not interfering with it yet. But if I were gonna like do this, I'd be like, why do I, so there's 66, right? Because I need there's 66 different instances when for the each variable is used because you have to set the variable and then you have to change the state of the cards based on the variable. So how it, like I said, I have a random one in here somewhere, but does that help you seeing it?
Oh yeah, yeah, sure. That
Okay.
this guy Java is really smart.
Yeah, yeah. And like I think I said, like I don't know JavaScript. I am I don't want to say I'm suspicious of it, but because I don't, like Ron could look at that and that trigger and he could say, "Oh yeah, the line you're talking about is right down here, right?"
Hmm.
So I sort of figured like this was the guts of it right here. So it's telling, change the variable and then you change the card. You tell Storyline to change the state of the card based on what's going on here. But it's got its own language that I don't know, but it's working. As far as I know, it's working. So I would really need someone to torture test it to make sure I didn't mess up like a variable or a state or something.
Yeah, that magic is in the middle because
Yeah,
at the bottom there, as Ron pointed out, it's just applying a number to a variable.
yeah, yeah. So, and like I said, I had chat GPT or you could I actually then pasted this in. I said, could you explain each line to me? And it did. It was like 19 pages explaining each line.
Ooh.
And I'm like, I think I get it. But anyway, not enough because I don't know it. I'm uncomfortable with it, but if I were gonna like do something like this where I was getting paid to do it, I'd get someone who's an expert to do it instead of me doing it.
Good idea. Seek
So,
professional help.
but this is just this is for fun. So that's just like I said, it took me when I had done this in 2018, I just couldn't figure it out. I had, instead of doing it this way, which is the right way, I had like 8 different cards here, 8 different here, and 7 here. And thinking someone was only going to go through the demo once, they wouldn't know that they only have 1 and 8 to get here, 1 and 8 to get here. But I just
Right.
couldn't figure out how to make them so they wouldn't repeat. So, okay,
Yeah,
so there's,
uh,
anyway.
This is definitely industrial strength here. It's ready for prime
Yeah.
time.
And now everyone's heard of the Fisher-Yates algorithm for shuffling cards.
Thank
So,
goodness.
Yeah, I
okay.
looked it up. It was from 1938, so that's kind of
Oh.
crazy to think it's been around that long.
Yeah, and it's still
I had
like
not heard of it.
no, and it was well, it's okay. So I feel good about that then. Ron's had to like Google something.
Thank you, Ron.
That's like for me that is like a win. So I'm glad you looked it up. But yeah, I figured like everybody who does JavaScript knew this except for me. So anyway, okay. So so if we're like done with this, we're like about a half hour in. I guess the next thing I was going to show was I actually have a demo file that shows like how I used or how anyone could use some of these new AI features in Storyline. So you
Yeah,
good
please.
about that? Okay, let me pull this one up. And this is quick because I left the file raw and we can play with them. So the first one is I write way too much. I know this about myself, but that's kind of like how I think. Like I like vomit everything out and then I go and edit it. And there's this great new feature. If you haven't used it, I use it all the time. It's the AI text editing in Storyline. And what it allows you to do is give commands for like how you want to edit a text. So this is a text box. Here, let me just preview this. This is something that it's showing itself as a scroll panel, but not because I built a scroll panel. It's because my text was way too long and it automatically put it into a scroll panel, which before you'd have to put it into a scroll panel and fix it, but now you don't have to do that. So let me get out of here and we'll
Yeah, thoughtful storyline to do
close.
that for us.
Yeah. You guys still see my screen okay? I've been playing around with like my
Yeah,
windows, so
we're
okay.
seeing using storyline AI to edit
Yeah.
text.
Okay. So I'm going to highlight this text and up here on the top, you can edit text and it's got this little AI feature in it. And we can tell Storyline how we want this text edited. So we can do a lot of things. If it's got spelling errors, hopefully it doesn't, but it could. I don't know what improved writing means, but usually I'm looking at it to make it shorter because I know I write too much. So why don't we try making it shorter? This is about, my original was about 100 words. And I'm thinking I'd like it to get to be about 30 words without losing the meaning. So I'm just going to get it down to like a size. Well, that looks like quite a bit shorter.
Yeah, it's quite a
So
bit.
let's replace it. And it's still a little long, you know. Let's see if we can get it down to like fit in that. My goal will be to get it to fit in this box without the scroll panel. So I'm just editing and saying make it shorter, and then we'll have to see like if we lose any of the meaning for any of the meaning, which is what I would be doing, but like for here, I don't think we need to do it. That looks pretty short now, right? So let's replace it. Still, it's shorter, but not short enough. So I'll just like make the box a little bit bigger. But it took it from like about 100 words down to it looks like to be about maybe 30 words. And then it's up to us to like go through it again and go, what did we lose by shortening it? Did we lose any of the meaning or anything? Maybe it's okay, but it's just up to you. But it's a great feature if you're like me and you just write way too much. So
Yes, it's got the salient in there. It's about
yeah,
listening, not predicting.
yeah. And this is all fluffy anyway, so who cares what it says? But anyway, it's a good feature. So.
That's
But
a
I
work in
would say like
progress.
if you were using John and I before you guys came on, we were talking about some of the compliance stuff that I work on. And we would not, because it's compliance related, I probably wouldn't be allowed to change a word of it. But if we're just creating our own, like this is like a great, it's a really quick, easy tool just to ask yourself, did I get it down to like where we don't lose anything? It's got the meaning that we want. So,
And you
okay.
can take it as a suggestion rather than
hmm Yeah. And if you don't
gospel.
like it, undo it, Control Z it, and you'll go, or you can revert back, I think here, like in the edit text, you can I think I saw something in here to go back to the original or something like that. Or anyway, there's all kinds of things you can do. You can have it do bullet points and I use it a lot now. I didn't think I'd like it, but I really like it. So on this one now, there's like a new feature where you can tell Storyline what kind of animation you want, where you don't have to use motion paths or animation. And I'll show you this one because I created this one to show you how it would work. But I asked the new AI animation beta up here to make this card look like it was floating continuously. Now you could do this with a motion path, like I want one up, one down, and just have it do that. But this one I just wrote it. So we're gonna do one.
Yeah,
So
up
here's a
and down
card.
is not floating.
Yeah, whatever you want it to do. So, but here's a card with no animation on it, and this feature is found like in the AI assistant. It's a beta up here, and we can tell it. I'm going to move my controls again. That's what I'm playing around with. We can give it an assignment. So what would we like this thing to do?
Float around the left
Okay.
side of the screen.
Okay. I'm always going to say please because I'm polite. Make, let, I mean, I don't, this is one of those things where you don't know if it's going to do what you're telling it to do because you don't know if you're telling it to do the right thing, but you'll see, like, So please what do you want it to do? Float
Float around the left half of the screen.
around oh, okay.
Now, should you
I'll
be
call it the slide.
specifying a magician card here or card one? Because
I'm calling it, right here, I'm just using because that's what I called it here,
oh,
but that's a good
okay,
question
got it.
because I don't know it enough yet.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see what we get it to do. So it's going to attempt to generate what we asked it to do, and now we'll find out if we asked it to do enough.
Yeah, that is so fabulous. You don't even have to say JavaScript. It figures it
Yeah.
out for you.
Well, it's doing something.
It's floating.
Yeah. And it only did it once. So you could ask it, you want to say continuously,
And let's say slowly because it was kind of jumping around there rather than floating.
slowly, and continuously. Okay. So this will be the last one we do on making this work, but it's just like to show, like, I guess you have to ask yourself, is it worth it for me to spend all this time trying to get it to do what I want it to do, or should I just use the motion paths and figure it out? And if you took Ron's class, you'd know how to make it move around from the little boat exercise that he has you do. So,
Ooh, that's starting to look good.
well, it didn't quite do continuously.
Yeah, it's not
So,
smooth at this point, but I'm sure you could spend hours of fun here making it
and I,
just
I
right.
don't think it did what we wanted it to do. So if you go like, no, I don't like what it did, like it didn't do what I wanted to do, and you can send feedback back to Articulate. So, yeah. Okay. So there's that one. Let me get out of here now.
They
I'm
are
moving my
they are in the
controls.
middle of adding more things for this. So this month, their now updates are coming out every two weeks. So
Holy cow.
you'll see
Two
some more
weeks.
updates on this animation piece coming out soon.
That's cool. That's cool. I mean, I had fun with it. I used it. It took me a while. There was a e-learning challenge a couple weeks ago with using it, and I simulated a fish tank with an aquarium. That was cool. But one of the people who contributes to the community was trying to make like an orbit around the sun, and he could not get it to work. So he loaded his file. I couldn't get it to work. I'm wondering if he ever got it to work, but it's still like it's a cool feature. So it's only going to get better, like Ron said. So okay, this one to me is like a super game changer. I hate writing alt text. I would much rather tell Articulate to ignore my my visual, that it's not part of the, it's not important when I have to write it myself. But now Articulate here, we have some built-in like great alt text tools. So on this one, if you just, so here's like, I've got three cards. If I were going to write alt text, I'd probably go, okay, this is the fool, this is the magician, and this is the high priestess. It would be like no information, but the alt text generator now, and you find it in the accessibility panel, can describe this visual better. So here's the fool card. Right now, I'm saying, yep, this is an important visual, so I want it to be visible to accessibility tools, but my alternative text is the name of the file that I use, so that's not a sufficient um, description. So now you can just hit the alt text and it will generate it for you. So this says, okay, this is card is a person in colorful attire who's holding a knapsack with and a white flower. I don't, oh yeah, he's got a white flower. I didn't even notice that. Standing on a cliff with a dog under the bright sun. So if I were doing a tarot card reading, I'd go like, you know what? That's a good alt text for the description, but it doesn't really help with saying that this is the fool. That's part of the reading. So I'd probably have to think about like what it's what it's saying here. And this this one just this little button right here will just apply it to every time. I think what it's doing is every time I use that visual, it'll give the alt text. So here, I'll do the magician now. So we'll do the same thing over. So just find it in the accessibility. This is one way to do it. There's a couple ways to do this. I'm going to generate the alt text and it'll have to say something about, oh, this is a long one. So this one, I guess we'd want to like really like look at these descriptions. Could you imagine like somebody with a screen reader like having these descriptions coming up? They're like long. So, but it's to me like this was a game changer just to be able to use a tool like this. And then maybe for this one it's too complicated. The visual is pretty complicated, but if it's just like a picture of a dog or something simpler, this would be great.
Is there any way to tell it to just go through and do the alt text on every visual?
I'm not sure, but there is another way to do it down here. There's a, you see down here at the bottom,
Yes,
there's
it's,
this new feature, this accessibility. It's telling me that in this little file, there's 4 more issues. And you can get, like when you go to publish your course, there's just another way to do it.
mhm.
See, it's telling you you've got these accessibility issues and do you want to review them before you publish it? And I'll say yes. And it'll go through now each of the issues. Like I have a fool card that doesn't have alt text in it. I can generate it there. But at least now it tells you all in one place, John, that
Mhm.
you've got all these issues. So I need alt text for this High Priestess card. So let me generate it. I can skip it or generate it, but at least it's in one place.
And then what happens in that situation where you're using states to change the look of the card on a card 22 different times? Does the
Um,
alt text
that
follow the image that's currently showing? That sounds pretty tricky.
it follows. Yeah. Because in my other file, I only had to change it once, even
Mhm.
though I had it. See this little command right here? I think this is there, or the other one I showed you. It says apply it to every instance.
Well,
And I think that would do it. And I noticed
oh,
when I would repeat a visual on another slide, it would carry with it. So that's pretty good. You don't have to
what
do it every time.
one heck of an algorithm.
So that's a good one. But this one is my favorite one. I think like this was probably for me, this is the huge one. It's the creating captions using the AI. Let me get back on my slide here. So I've got a slide here, and this is audio. You can see there's the audio wave for it, and it's got no, I got to move my controls again, sorry. It's got no captions. So when you look at the captions page, there's nothing in it. But I've got the audio. So up here now, up at the top, you can generate captions with AI. This is about a minute of audio, and we can count. It's going to take about 20 seconds for it to generate the captions. So something that it was taking me probably about, like if you've got a big file with a bunch of audio in it and you need to do the captions for it, if you're not, hopefully you'd have like a caption file to insert to do it. But this way, if you don't, there is like it took 20 seconds for it to generate the captions. So maybe like you got to look through them and some of them maybe aren't spelled right, but I'll demo this and then I'm going to approve the captions. We'll close it.
There it is.
There we go. Okay. So now I'll just show you like what this looks like. So I thought this was like fantastic. So when we do this slide
The
now,
22 cards of the tarot's major arcana tell a single symbolic story known
there's
as the
the
Fool's
captions.
Journey.
Okay, so here are all the captions, like amazing. So you might want to go through and, if there's punctuation or you could fix it there, but game changer.
That's very nice.
Yeah, yeah. That was like when I sort of, I mean, I knew this existed, but I kind of stumbled on it by accident when, when I was doing this. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to save me like hours.
So what are you
Okay.
going to do with all that time?
Oh, I don't know. Do more demos. I don't know. I think I covered everything. I hope I didn't go through too fast or I think that's it.
Well, that's a lot to
Um,
absorb. That's
yeah.
a real nice piece of work.
And I'm happy to like share the file if you want the card. Actually, the card sorting file, I posted it in the e-learning heroes challenge, not this one,
Hmm.
but there was a challenge where you had I think it was something like your 2025 big wins or your accomplishments or something. And I had just figured out how to make this thing work. And I'm like, I never posted it. I never shared with them, but I'm putting it up here because it's such a big, since 2018, I've been trying to figure it out. So,
Hmm. Uh,
um,
so did you say your storyline file is online in the e-learning challenge?
yeah,
Which number is that?
number maybe like 532 or 531. It was
Okay.
November. But I posted it in there and it's just like three little cards and it's just one slide and you can just play with it. But I could see like
Okay.
how you would use this for oh, I was thinking like let's say you had something like you were teaching soft skills, managerial skills, and you had three different types of employee issues you wanted to solve. You could make it look like a card. Certain person we would have done, yeah, pull a card, and that's your challenge you're going to work on and work on it with a partner. I could see like using it to generate three options, and you could pick one and branch it to a scenario or something like that. That might be
Or,
how I might use it. Or a character. Like let's say you have three
mhm.
characters. Do you want to take John's performance management issue, Jody's or Liz's, take one of the three and then it would branch to something. I could see it randomly generating, something like that. So it doesn't have to be the tarot reading, but
Yeah, or
you could
something
use it
like
that way.
a simulated conversation where you're doing a sales call or a management call where you want the different questions and different responses coming up
Yeah.
arbitrarily. Now, about which number did you say that e-learning challenge
It's
was?
kind of like a fun way to make it feel like, well, there's something going on and it's generating it. It's never the same. It wouldn't be the same every time. So
Yeah,
I'm going
that's
to
the
generate
magic.
like, or we're going to simulate a conversation between these three people. Which three people? There's 20 of them. These
Mhm.
three. And now you got like your scenario to move forwards or something like that.
That would be very nice. Now, about which number did you say the e-learning challenge was that you had the file? I'm going to put that in the
I
chat window.
think the one where I posted it,
Yes, please.
I think it was 532 or 533. It was the 2025 uh post your big wins or something like that. Let me see if I can find it. So
Okay.
I just can't remember the exact title of it, but it was before the Pantone Color of the Year one. It was number, I got it. It's number five. Share your 2025 e-learning challenges number 534.
534. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
going to put that in the
Yeah.
chat window. So if
Yeah.
anybody
And
participating
in the
wants to
recap,
save
you
that,
can just download the file there. That's where I left it.
you are very generous to do that, showing your work like that.
I was like so excited that it actually worked. I was, even though I never shared it with them, I was like, I'm posting it. And I really like I asked a lot of people like how to do this and my brain wouldn't accept how to do it. I don't know how to describe it. Like I got the demos, somebody said, here's a proof of concept, try this, and I opened it up and I froze. My brain went, nope, not doing that.
Mhm.
So anyway,
Well,
Okay.
that was are there any questions we should ask? Yeah, a lot to absorb there. And a couple different game changers there, especially with being able to just go into storyline and tell it to, you don't even have to say write JavaScript. It figures out how to do that for
No,
you.
no. And I don't know, like I said, I was just playing because I had the time
Right.
and this has been in my bullpen for so long and I thought, well, maybe the technology is caught up that can help me. And like I said, I probably if I were doing this for a client, there'd be no way I would put something in in a client's project that I didn't have 100%, understanding of. But at least like doing the challenges or playing around, like, I'll learn and then eventually, like, I'm not going to learn JavaScript, It's like
Mhm.
at this point, you don't need to learn. It's sad, but you don't need to learn it. Like, you just get a machine or somebody else to help you and you go type, thank you, copy, paste. But it does bother me that I can't dissect it myself and understand.
Right.
Like Ron looked at it and he goes, "Oh yeah, that's like, what that's doing." I can't do that, but
So let's
like I
keep
said,
Ron around for a little while.
yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, do you really need to, if you know what it does, do you really need to go in and be able to describe and explain every single line of code? I mean, that's what vibe coding is all
yeah,
about, doing it for us.
yeah. Like I would just, like I said, I would want to torture test it and just make sure those cards are never repeating or that. And really, when someone goes through they're not going through it 10 times like we go through it 100 times. They're
Mhm.
just doing it once. So it'd be
Mhm.
transparent to them, but it would still bother me if I didn't know that it was working 100%.
Sounds
So,
like hours of fun. I will, very happy to accept that it will
yeah.
never repeat the same cards. Well,
Yeah.
Jody,
Okay.
if there are no more questions, thank you and thank you
Yeah, thank you.
for winding up on time. That was amazing.
I knew like, yeah, it's like I wanted to get through it. So, okay. But yeah, find the file or if anybody knows where to find me, I'm happy to share. My files are like they're floating around all over the place. So it's fun.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, you have a lot of files out there, and
Yeah.
you've
Yep.
shared a lot of excellent work.
Yeah.
So, everybody, please come back and join our workshop again next month and find out who the guest speaker is.
Oh yeah. Yeah, use
Should
that tarot reading. We're
Yeah,
gonna use temperance. So,
it will be a good one.
okay.
Okay. Well,
Thank you, everybody.
good night, everybody.